Welcome back to our chilling series exploring the haunted corners of the Land of Enchantment, where history and horror intertwine in ways that defy explanation. In this 8th episode of Most Haunted Places in New Mexico, we delve deeper into the shadows cast by ghostly legends, uncovering tales so spine-tingling they'll leave you questioning the boundaries between the living and the dead. From ancient pueblo ruins steeped in mysticism to abandoned mining towns frozen in time, New Mexico is a treasure trove of spectral stories rooted in tragedy, betrayal, and unrelenting sorrow. New Mexico's haunted places are more than just locations. They're vessels carrying the echoes of lives lived and lost. These sites bear witness to events that continue to reverberate through time, battles fought on sacred ground, unsolved murders cloaked in secrecy, and the lingering presence of those who refuse to move on. Each place holds its own dark secrets, whispered through creaking floorboards, flickering lights, and disembodied voices that drift through empty halls. Whether you're drawn by morbid curiosity or an insatiable thirst for the supernatural, these destinations promise encounters that blur the line between reality and nightmare. In this episode, we'll journey to some of the most infamous haunted locales across New Mexico, places steeped in lore and fear, where the past refuses to stay buried. We'll peer into the shadowy depths of haunted hotels, explore eerie mansions cloaked in mystery, and tread cautiously through abandoned institutions teeming with restless spirits. Along the way, we'll hear first-hand accounts from witnesses brave enough to confront the unknown, examine chilling evidence captured by paranormal investigators, and unravel the tragic histories that give rise to these hauntings. So dim the lights, keep your ears sharp, and prepare yourself for a descent into the macabre. As we step into the haunted heart of New Mexico, remember, sometimes, the most terrifying truths lie just beyond the veil, and once you cross it, there's no turning back. The St. James Hotel, a ghostly grandeur in Cimarron. Nestled in the quaint town of Cimarron, the St. James Hotel stands as a monument to both luxury and despair, a grand Victorian-era masterpiece whose opulent facade conceals decades of tragedy and supernatural activity. Built in 1872 during the height of the Old West, the hotel quickly became a retreat for cowboys, gamblers, outlaws, and even legendary figures like Jesse James and Buffalo Bill Cody. With its sweeping staircases, crystal chandeliers, and panoramic views of the surrounding mountains, the St. James epitomized elegance and sophistication. Yet beneath its polished exterior lay a darker narrative, one marked by gunfights, betrayal, and untimely deaths. One of the most enduring legends tied to the St. James Hotel revolves around Room 18, said to be haunted by the spirit of a jilted lover named Mary. According to local lore, Mary checked into the hotel in the late 1800s under the pretense of meeting her fiancé, only to discover he had abandoned her for another woman. Overcome with grief, she took her own life in the room, leaving behind a legacy of sorrow that continues to haunt visitors today. Guests staying in Room 18 frequently report strange occurrences: lights turning on and off by themselves, radios tuning to static-filled stations, and the overwhelming scent of lavender lingering in the air. Some claim to wake up in the middle of the night to find their bedsheets tangled impossibly tight around their limbs, as if restrained by invisible hands. Another prominent figure in the hotel's haunted lore is believed to be none other than Clay Allison, a notorious gunslinger who frequented the St. James during his violent escapades. Paranormal investigators exploring the property have captured EVP recordings suggesting the presence of a male entity whispering phrases like, "draw," and "watch your back." Witnesses described seeing a shadowy figure resembling Allison pacing anxiously near windows, clutching what appears to be a revolver before vanishing without a trace. The hotel's basement, once used for storage and gambling operations, has become a focal point of paranormal activity. Employees tasked with cleaning the area often describe hearing chains rattling and heavy footsteps echoing through the cavernous space, though no one else is present. Some claim to see shadowy figures dragging invisible loads, their movements jerky and unnatural. A particularly chilling account comes from a maintenance worker who swore he felt cold metal cuffs snap around his wrists, pulling him backward toward the darkness before releasing him abruptly. Overnight visitors to the St. James Hotel frequently recount bizarre experiences that defy logical explanation. Lights flicker unpredictably, especially in hallways leading to the older sections of the building. Doors slammed shut on their own, and the scent of cigar smoke wafts through the air despite the hotel's strict no-smoking policy. One guest described waking up to find his reflection in the mirror staring back at him, but not quite matching his movements, as if another entity stood behind him, mimicking his actions. Another recounted seeing a man in a dusty cowboy outfit standing at the foot of her bed, his hollow eyes boring into hers before vanishing without a sound. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, the St. James Hotel remains a popular destination for history enthusiasts and thrill-seekers alike. Its rich tapestry of human drama, interwoven with tragedy and loss, creates an atmosphere unlike any other. For those brave enough to book a stay, the possibility of encountering Mary, Clay Allison, or one of the countless other spirits said to roam its halls adds an element of excitement and trepidation. Yet, as each new visitor crosses its threshold, they must decide whether they are ready to face the darkness that lingers within these walls, or will they become another chapter in the hotel's tragic tale, the La Posada de Santa Fe, elegance entangled with the supernatural in the heart of Santa Fe, where the vibrant energy of the plaza meets the historic charm of adobe architecture, stands La Posada de Santa Fe, a beacon of refined elegance with a haunting legacy that dates back over a century. Established in 1882, La Posada quickly became a hub for travelers, artists, and socialites seeking inspiration amidst the rugged beauty of northern New Mexico. Its stately courtyards, hand-carved wooden furnishings, and lush gardens evoke a sense of timeless grace, yet beneath its polished veneer lies a darker history steeped in tragedy, betrayal, and spectral encounters. One of the most iconic hauntings associated with La Posada is that of Julia Staub, the wife of Abraham Staub, a wealthy German Jewish merchant who originally built the estate. Described as intelligent and cultured, Julia's life was marred by personal struggles and mental health issues exacerbated by the loss of several children. Her death in 1896 sent shockwaves through the community, and her memory has since become intertwined with the fabric of La Posada. Guests and staff alike report seeing a woman in a flowing Victorian gown gliding silently through the corridors, her translucent form illuminated by dim light. Some claim to feel an icy draft pass through them as she drifts by, while others report hearing soft humming emanating from empty rooms, believed to be Julia tidying up after guests long gone. Another prominent figure in the hotel's haunted lore is believed to be Charles O'Feld, a prominent businessman who frequently stayed at La Posada during his visits to Santa Fe. Though not a permanent resident, his larger-than-life personality left an indelible mark on the property. Visitors recount sightings of a tall, imposing man clad in period attire, pacing anxiously near the lobby or sitting alone in the bar. His presence is often accompanied by the faint clinking of spurs and the smell of leather, as though he's preparing for one last cattle drive. Some speculate that Charles lingers due to unfinished business, unable to part ways with the city that played such a pivotal role in his life. The hotel's basement, once used for storage and laundry operations, has also gained a reputation for paranormal activity. Employees tasked with maintaining the area describe hearing muffled voices and the sound of footsteps echoing through the narrow passageways, though no one else is present. Objects are known to move inexplicably. Tools vanish only to reappear hours later in entirely different locations. One particularly unnerving incident involved a janitor who swore he saw a young boy playing with marbles in the corner of the room, only for the child to disappear when approached. Theories abound that the boy may have been a victim of illness or accident during the hotel's early years, forever trapped in the confines of its lower levels. Modern-day investigations into La Posada's supernatural claims have yielded intriguing results. Thermal imaging cameras reveal significant temperature drops in specific areas, including the third-floor hallway and the basement. Electromagnetic field (EMF) meters register unusual spikes, particularly near antique furniture pieces believed to have belonged to original owners. Perhaps the most compelling evidence comes from audio recordings, which capture disembodied voices uttering fragmented sentences like, "I'm sorry," and "Let me go." Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted allure, La Posada de Santa Fe continues to draw visitors eager to immerse themselves in its storied past. For those brave enough to book a stay, the opportunity to encounter Julia Staub, Charles O'Feld, or one of the countless other spirits said to roam its halls adds an element of excitement and trepidation. The Fort Union National Monument. Shadows of war and sorrow deep in the northeastern plains of New Mexico, shrouded by sagebrush and endless skies, lies the Fort Union National Monument, a sprawling military outpost whose ruins stand as a testament to the tumultuous era of westward expansion and conflict. Active from 1851 to 1891, the fort served as a critical defense point along the Santa Fe Trail, protecting settlers, traders, and soldiers from Native American raids and Confederate incursions. Today, the weathered adobe walls and crumbling foundations of Fort Union bear silent witness to the violence, disease, and despair that plagued those stationed within its borders, and to the spirits that remain bound to its haunted grounds. One of the most pervasive legends tied to Fort Union centers around the hospital ward, where countless soldiers succumbed to injuries sustained in battle or illnesses contracted during harsh winters. Historical records indicate that conditions were dire, with overcrowding, poor sanitation, and limited medical supplies exacerbating the suffering of patients. Decades later, visitors exploring the ruins report hearing faint moans and cries emanating from the remnants of the hospital. Some claim to see shadowy figures huddled in the corners, their faces obscured by darkness, while others described feeling an oppressive weight pressing down on them as they approached the site. Another haunting figure associated with Fort Union is believed to be Lieutenant John Smith, a young officer stationed at the fort during the Civil War. According to local lore, Smith fell deeply in love with a local woman but was killed in action before he could propose marriage. His ghost is said to wander the parade ground, his ethereal form clad in a tattered Union uniform. Guests visiting the monument have reported seeing a pale figure pacing restlessly near the officers' quarters, his expression frozen in eternal anguish. Others describe hearing the faint clinking of spurs and the rustle of fabric, as though someone is preparing for inspection. The fort's cemetery, located just outside the main compound, has also gained a reputation for paranormal activity. Visitors walking among the weathered headstones often feel an inexplicable sense of dread, as though unseen eyes are watching their every move. Shadows flit across peripheral vision, disappearing when directly observed. Some claim to hear disembodied voices calling out names unfamiliar to modern ears, believed to be the voices of soldiers and civilians buried without proper markers. Others report seeing apparitions of men and women in period clothing, their faces gaunt and weary, standing silently amidst the graves. Paranormal investigators exploring Fort Union have documented numerous instances of unexplained phenomena. EMF detectors routinely spike in certain areas, particularly near the hospital ruins and the officers' quarters. EVP recordings capture faint whispers pleading for help, interspersed with anguished cries. One investigator captured a chilling photograph of a translucent figure standing in the doorway of the hospital ruins, its hands raised as if begging for mercy. These findings have solidified the fort's reputation as one of New Mexico's most active haunted sites. Despite, or perhaps because of, its grim history, Fort Union continues to attract curious souls eager to confront its spectral inhabitants. For many, visiting the site serves as both a pilgrimage and a reckoning, an opportunity to honor the lives lost and acknowledge the sacrifices made in pursuit of westward expansion. Whether you're drawn by the allure of its haunting beauty or the weight of its tragic legacy, Fort Union offers an unforgettable experience where the past refuses to fade quietly into oblivion. The Luna Mansion whispers beneath the adobe walls perched along historic Route 66 in Los Lunas. The Luna Mansion stands as a testament to the resilience of New Mexico's pioneering families. A majestic adobe structure built in 1903 that has witnessed decades of prosperity, scandal, and personal vendettas. Its thick clay walls, ornate woodwork, and sprawling gardens evoke a sense of permanence and tradition, yet within its halls lie stories of betrayal, murder, and vengeful spirits unwilling to fade into obscurity. One of the most infamous incidents tied to the Luna Mansion occurred in 1915, when Don Solomon Luna, patriarch of the influential Luna family, was found dead under suspicious circumstances. Rumors swirled about foul play involving rival landowners and political enemies, though no conclusive evidence emerged. Locals believe his ghost haunts the mansion's grand parlor, pacing anxiously as though still deliberating over the fateful decisions that led to his demise. Visitors have reported hearing faint footsteps descending the staircase, followed by a deafening crash, as though someone has fallen again. Others describe seeing a pale man staring mournfully out of upstairs windows, his expression frozen in eternal anguish. Another prominent figure in the mansion's haunted lore is believed to be Rosita Luna, the youngest daughter of Don Solomon, whose life ended in tragedy. According to family accounts, Rosita fell deeply in love with a ranch hand against her father's wishes. When news of their secret engagement reached him, Don Solomon forbade the union, prompting Rosita to flee the mansion in despair. She was later found drowned in the nearby Rio Grande, her body bruised and battered. Since then, visitors to the mansion report seeing a spectral figure perched precariously on the balcony railing, gazing downward as though contemplating a leap. Others describe hearing faint sobs carried by the wind, accompanied by the splash of water rippling against the riverbanks. Adding to the mansion's haunted allure are the countless gatherings and celebrations that took place within its walls during its heyday. Many believe residual energy from these events remains trapped within the adobe framework, manifesting as phantom sounds of laughter, music, and conversation. At night, when the mansion is bathed in moonlight, some visitors swear they can hear the distant strains of a piano and the low murmur of revelry, as though a party from another era continues to unfold. Paranormal investigators exploring the Luna Mansion have captured compelling evidence of its supernatural activity. Thermal cameras reveal cold spots concentrated near the staircase and the balcony railing, where many of the tragedies unfolded. Audio recordings pick up fragmented phrases like "help me" and "don't let go," delivered in tones of sheer desperation. One particularly unsettling discovery came when a team member set up motion-activated cameras overnight, capturing footage of a translucent figure standing motionless at the midpoint of the staircase before vanishing without explanation. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, the Luna Mansion remains a popular destination for tourists and locals alike. Its picturesque setting and rich history make it a favorite spot for photography and leisurely strolls. For those brave enough to venture inside after dark, the promise of encountering Rosita or one of the countless other spirits said to linger adds an element of fascination and trepidation. Yet, as each new visitor steps onto the adobe floors, they must ask themselves, are they prepared to face the echoes of the past, or will they become another chapter in the mansion's macabre legacy? As we traverse the haunted landscapes of New Mexico, from the opulent halls of La Posada de Santa Fe to the somber grounds of Fort Union, striking similarities emerge that transcend individual locations and histories. These patterns are not merely coincidental but reflect universal themes of human emotion, unresolved trauma, and the enduring power of memory. From the wailing wards of hospitals to the shadowed basements of monuments, these sites share a commonality that binds them together in a spectral sisterhood of sorrow and suspense. One recurring motif is the concept of unfinished business. Whether it's the victims of unethical experiments, or the betrayed trust of patients subjected to inhumane treatments, these spirits seem tethered to the earthly realm by grievances left unaddressed. Their presence manifests as restless energy, often communicated through auditory phenomena, cries, whispers, or disembodied voices, that serve as pleas for acknowledgement or closure. This theme resonates across cultures and belief systems, reflecting humanity's innate need to resolve conflict and seek peace, even in death. Another shared characteristic is the role of architecture in amplifying paranormal activity. Historic buildings, with their labyrinthine corridors, thick walls, and hidden alcoves, create environments conducive to isolating individuals and heightening fear. These structural elements act as metaphors for the psychological barriers erected by those who suffered within their confines, trapping emotions such as anger, despair, and regret. It's no coincidence that many reported hauntings occur in spaces imbued with emotional significance: operating rooms where surgeries went awry, basements where bodies were stored, or wards where patients met tragic ends. Lighting and sensory manipulation also feature prominently in these narratives. Flickering lights, sudden temperature drops, and inexplicable odors are staples of ghostly encounters, designed to disorient and unsettle. Such phenomena strip away the comfort of familiarity, forcing guests to confront the unknown. The use of mirrors, a recurring element in stories from various haunted hospitals, adds another layer of psychological tension, as reflections distort perception and blur the boundary between self and other. This interplay of light and shadow becomes a tool wielded by unseen forces, creating moments of visceral terror that linger long after the initial shock subsides. Finally, the prevalence of historical context cannot be overstated. Each location's haunting is deeply rooted in its unique past, shaped by the socio-cultural milieu of its time. The brutal medical practices embedded in the DNA of older establishments contrast sharply with the glamorous yet tragic lives immortalized in urban legends. Yet both narratives tap into broader archetypes of ambition, betrayal, and mortality, ensuring their resonance with audiences regardless of personal experience. By drawing on these universal motifs, these haunted places transform from mere buildings into living repositories of collective memory, inviting us to peer into the abyss of our shared humanity. Thus, while each establishment boasts its own distinct flavor of fright, the underlying threads connecting them reveal a tapestry rich with meaning. These patterns remind us that the supernatural is not so much about the entities themselves but the stories they tell, the echoes of lives interrupted, passions extinguished, and truths obscured. As we continue to explore these haunted locales, we find ourselves grappling not only with the specters of the past but with the timeless questions they raise about life, death, and everything in between. The psychology of fear. Why haunted places captivate us? What is it about haunted places that grips our imaginations so profoundly? Beyond the creaking floorboards and flickering lights lies a deeper allure, one rooted in the psychology of fear and the human fascination with the unknown. These sites, by their very nature, are places of vulnerability. They are where we confront our mortality, stripped of autonomy and control, relying entirely on the expertise of others to heal us, or where justice was denied, leaving wounds that refuse to heal. When these spaces become haunted, they amplify our primal fears, transforming familiar settings into arenas of existential dread. The combination of historical context, architectural design, and the lingering presence of past suffering creates a perfect storm of terror that resonates deeply within us. The core of this captivation is the concept of liminality, the state of being on the threshold between two worlds. Haunted places exist in this liminal space, bridging life and death, health and illness, hope and despair. This inherent duality makes them fertile ground for supernatural narratives. Ghosts, as manifestations of unresolved trauma or unfinished business, embody the tension of being caught between states. They serve as reminders that the boundaries we construct, between life and afterlife, sanity and madness, are far more permeable than we'd like to believe. For many, visiting a haunted site feels like stepping into a twilight zone where the rules of reality no longer apply, igniting both curiosity and unease. Architecturally, haunted places contribute to this atmosphere of dread through their design. Long, sterile hallways lined with identical doors create a sense of disorientation, while poor lighting and echoing acoustics heighten sensory awareness. These features mimic the psychological effects of anxiety and claustrophobia, making even mundane sounds, a distant cough, the hum of fluorescent lights, feel ominous. The labyrinthine layouts of older structures, with their hidden wings and underground tunnels, evoke feelings of entrapment and uncertainty. Every corner becomes a potential threat, every shadow a possible harbinger of danger. This environmental manipulation taps into our instinctual fight-or-flight response, keeping us perpetually on edge. Cultural influences also play a significant role in shaping our fascination with haunted places. Media representations, from films like The Shining to television series such as American Horror Story, have cemented the trope of the haunted asylum, courthouse, or battlefield as a locus of horror. These portrayals often blend historical truths with fictional embellishments, creating a mythology that blurs fact and fiction. Audiences are drawn to these stories because they reflect societal anxieties about institutional power, systemic injustice, and the fragility of the human mind. Haunted places become microcosms of larger fears, the loss of agency, the misuse of authority, and the haunting specter of mistakes made in the name of progress. Moreover, haunted places appeal to our desire for catharsis. Engaging with these tales allows us to process our own fears about mortality, injustice, and the flaws inherent in systems meant to protect us. By confronting ghostly apparitions and unexplained phenomena, we externalize internal anxieties, transforming abstract fears into tangible adversaries. This vicarious experience provides a safe outlet for exploring the darker aspects of human existence, offering both thrill and relief. It's no wonder that ghost tours and paranormal investigations of haunted places attract participants eager to test their courage against the unknown. Ultimately, the enduring allure of haunted places lies in their ability to mirror our deepest fears while challenging our understanding of reality. They remind us that the past is never truly buried, that pain and injustice leave indelible marks on both people and places. As we walk their haunted halls, we are forced to confront not only the spirits said to inhabit them but also the ghosts within ourselves, the regrets, doubts, and unanswered questions that linger long after the wounds have healed. In doing so, we find a strange comfort in knowing that we are not alone in our fears, that others have walked these same paths and emerged, shaken but alive, to tell their stories. As we bring this chilling journey through New Mexico's most haunted places to a close, one thing becomes abundantly clear: the spirits of the past refuse to be silenced. Each creaking floorboard, each whispered name, and each fleeting shadow serves as a testament to lives lived, lost, and lingering in the spaces we dare to call haunted. These stories are more than mere campfire tales. They are fragments of history, stitched together by human emotion, tragedy, and the relentless passage of time. They remind us that the line between the living and the dead is far thinner than we might believe, and that sometimes, the most terrifying truths lie just beyond the veil. But why stop here? If these accounts have stirred something within you, a spark of curiosity, a shiver of excitement, I urge you to take the next step. Visit one of New Mexico's haunted places yourself. Walk the same halls where spirits are said to roam, stand in the rooms where history's echoes reverberate, and let the unknown brush against your senses. Whether you're a skeptic seeking proof or a believer eager to commune with the other side, these forsaken institutions offer an unparalleled opportunity to confront the mysteries that lie just beyond comprehension. There's nothing quite like experiencing the weight of decades-old despair firsthand, feeling the chill of a presence that defies explanation, or hearing the faint strains of voices from another time. And when you return, share your story. Did you feel the icy touch of a ghostly hand? Hear the faint tap of footsteps in an empty corridor? Or perhaps nothing happened at all, but isn't that silence just as intriguing? Your experiences add to the rich tapestry of lore surrounding these haunted places, ensuring their legacies endure for generations to come. Share your findings with fellow enthusiasts, document your journey, and keep the conversation alive. After all, every whisper contributes to the symphony of the supernatural. Until then, keep your lanterns lit and your courage steady. The spirits are waiting.